looking everywhere, that's how the story goes. Grab your gear, hold on tight, it's a wild ride ahead.
Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where love dies hard and sometimes rises again. In this dark and haunting tale, a cursed beauty known as the Rotting Queen stalks the silent streets of Blackridge. Her kiss doesn't just kill, it spreads a deadly plague, turning her victims into ravenous undead. But when a wandering war medic named Elias Kane enters the town, everything changes. Drawn to her tragic beauty and the truth behind her curse, Elias dares to fall in love with the one woman everyone fears. As the infection spreads and a terrifying new queen rises from the shadows, Elias and Lysandra must fight an army of the dead and their own doomed fate. Can love survive death? Or is this kiss their final goodbye? Romance, betrayal, plague, and a twist you won't see coming. Don't miss this spine-chilling horror romance only on the Zombie Story Zone. Zombie horror, romantic thriller, Rotting Queen, zombie love, the Zombie Story Zone.
Every story's a thrill, come and let your courage show. Fight or flight, we'll unite as the horror unfolds in the Zombie Story Zone adventure.
Blackridge was once a town of whispers and warmth. Nestled between dark hills and silver rivers, it had cobblestone streets, flowering balconies, and a timeless charm. Lovers used to stroll beneath gaslit lanterns, their laughter echoing through alleyways. The town square bloomed with roses, and music spilled from taverns where fiddlers played songs of joy and heartbreak. But all of that changed the night she came. Now windows stayed shuttered. The streets were cold and empty. Children no longer played outside. The roses in the square had wilted, their petals blackened. They called her the Rotting Queen. She appeared with the fog, beautiful, mysterious, and alone. No one saw her arrive. No one dared speak to her. But they felt her presence. Her scent lingered like lavender and decay. Her eyes, they said, glowed green like ghost fire. Her voice was soft, sad, like a lullaby forgotten in time. Those who saw her swore she wore a black dress that floated just above the ground, as if death itself refused to touch her. And then came the kisses. Not of love, but of death. Men drawn to her beauty, handsome, young, and foolish, vanished into the night, only to return days later, twisted, hungry, changed. Their eyes clouded, their skin gray, their hearts no longer beating. A single kiss, and they were lost, not just to life, but to humanity. Some claimed she was cursed. Others whispered she was punishing the town for a sin long buried. But the truth was always softer, deeper, and sadder. Because if you stood still long enough in the dead of night, you could sometimes hear her singing to the moon. And if you listened closely, her song was not of rage, but of longing, of love, of heartbreak. And in that moment, even the bravest man might wonder, was she a monster? Or a woman still waiting for someone to love her and live? Elias Kane arrived in Blackridge under a sky of bruised clouds and fading light. His motorcycle coughed tiredly as it rolled over cracked stones. Dust clung to his worn leather jacket, and his eyes, gray as storm-washed steel, scanned the silent streets. He was a man with nowhere left to be, carrying nothing but a rucksack and the weight of unspoken memories. He had once stitched bodies back together on blood-soaked battlefields. Now he drifted from town to town, searching for peace, but finding only ghosts. Blackridge felt different. The silence was too thick, like the town itself was holding its breath. Windows watched him, curtains twitching like nervous fingers. Doors shut quietly when he passed. No one smiled, no one waved. At the Old Stone Inn, the innkeeper, a hunched man with tired eyes, handed him a rusted room key without small talk. "You should leave by sunrise," he said, voice dry as bone. Elias raised a brow. "Why? Planning to rob me before breakfast?" The old man didn't laugh. "You seem brave, but even brave men fall under her spell." "Whose spell?" "The one they call the Rotting Queen." Elias smirked. "Sounds like a bedtime story." "No," the man whispered. "She's the one who ends them." That night, unable to sleep, Elias wandered through the town, boots echoing on the empty stone. Lanterns flickered weakly. A cold wind slipped through the streets like breath against the back of his neck. Then he saw her. She stood beneath the broken clock tower, bathed in moonlight like a vision from a fever dream. Her dress clung to her like smoke, long black hair tumbling down her back. Her skin shimmered like pearl and shadow. She was looking at him, only him. "Don't come closer," she said, voice velvet and ice. He did. Her beauty wasn't loud. It was tragic, the kind that ached, like a song with no end. Something in her eyes made his chest tighten, not from fear, but from a strange rising sorrow. You're bleeding, he noticed, pointing to the bandage on her arm. It doesn't matter, she whispered. I don't feel pain anymore. You still look like you can. A slow, haunted smile curved her lips. Then you're a dangerous man, Elias Kane. He hadn't told her his name. Before he could speak again, she was gone, vanishing into the mist, as if she'd never been there at all. But the warmth of her gaze lingered in his bones, like the echo of a kiss never given. And Elias knew he would find her again, even if it killed him. The wind whispered through the alleys of Blackridge that night, carrying secrets no one dared speak aloud. Elias Kane walked those empty streets alone, unable to sleep. The night wrapped around him like silk and shadow. Something in the air stirred him, an ache he couldn't name, a pulse beneath the silence. Then he saw her. She stood beneath the crumbling clock tower, its hands frozen at midnight. The moonlight poured over her like silver rain. She didn't move. She didn't need to. Her stillness was magnetic. Elias stopped breathing. She was more than beautiful. She was haunting. Her long dress clung to her figure like fog to the forest. Her dark hair fluttered in the wind, and her eyes were green fire, half sorrow, half temptation. I wouldn't come any closer, she said, her voice low and laced with warning. Men who do, don't stay themselves. Maybe I'm not like other men, Elias replied, stepping forward, his voice calm but his heart pounding. She tilted her head, curious. You think you're immune to me? No, he said. I think you're more than what they say. Her lips twitched, part smile, part sadness. They say I'm cursed, that I kill with a kiss, that I raise the dead. Do you? He asked gently. She didn't answer. Instead, she looked away, as if the answer had already broken her once. I didn't ask for this, she whispered, mostly to herself. I was a woman once, a sister, a daughter. I loved someone once too deeply. That's when everything shattered. Elias stepped closer. She didn't stop him this time. I've seen war, he said quietly. I've watched men die in my arms. I've watched worse come back, but I've never seen anyone like you. She turned to him again, eyes softening. There was a tremble in her breath, as if she wanted to believe him, needed to. What's your name? He asked. Lysandra. It sounded like a melody when she said it, and it settled into his bones like a secret. I'm Elias. I know. His brow furrowed. How? She only smiled, stepping back into the shadows. Be careful, Elias Kane. Some things are more dangerous when you want them. Then she vanished, like smoke swept away by wind, leaving behind only the warmth of her voice and the echo of something that felt like longing or warning. And for the first time in years, Elias felt something stir in his chest. Not fear, desire, and the sense that if he saw her again, he might never let her go. Elias awoke to the scent of lavender and damp earth. It wasn't coming from the inn. It was her. The memory of Lysandra clung to him like a fever. He'd only spoken to her once, and yet she was inside his every thought. Her voice, her eyes, the way she disappeared like a dream as dawn approached. He should have been afraid. He should have packed his things and left Blackridge like the innkeeper warned. But he didn't. Instead, he waited for nightfall. And when the town surrendered again to silence, Elias returned to the clock tower. She was there, sitting on the old stone steps, her fingers trailing over the surface of a broken music box. A soft, eerie lullaby whispered from it, as if remembering a time before curses. You came back, she said, not looking at him. I said I would, Elias replied. She glanced up. Her face was illuminated in moonlight, too perfect to be human, too tragic to be divine. Her eyes held a storm, years of pain, of guilt, of hunger she couldn't act on. Why? She asked. Because I can't stop thinking about you. Her lips parted slightly. The honesty in his voice disarmed her. Most people run when they see me. I don't run from ghosts, Elias said, taking a seat beside her. Lysandra didn't speak. For a long moment, they just sat side by side, listening to the broken melody. Then softly she whispered, I miss the feeling of skin against skin, of being held without fear, of kissing someone and not killing them. Elias turned to her slowly. Do you want to feel it again? Her breath caught. I shouldn't, she said. If I touch you, then we'll find out together. She looked at his hand, outstretched. Her fingers hovered above his, trembling. Finally, their hands met, and the world did not end. Her skin was cold, like marble kissed by rain. But her touch was tender, delicate, human. Lysandra gasped softly. How? Elias leaned closer, voice low. Maybe I'm not meant to die from your kiss. Or maybe, she breathed, you're meant to be the one to end me. Their eyes met, and for a moment, time forgot how to move. The town held its breath. Even the dead, somewhere deep in the woods, paused their endless hunger. Then she smiled, not the haunting smile of a cursed queen, but the smile of a woman remembering what it felt like to be alive. And in that fragile moment, something between them bloomed, dangerous, impossible, and undeniable. The wind shifted that night, less cruel, more curious, as if the town itself was watching them. Elias walked beside Lysandra beneath a sky heavy with stars, their joined hands swinging softly between them. She led him through winding streets he hadn't seen before, forgotten gardens, ivy-covered statues, and shuttered houses with stories sealed behind rotting wood. This was my home once, she murmured, stopping before a collapsed manor on the edge of the woods. Elias glanced at her. You lived here? I grew up inside those walls, she said, her voice filled with a distant sadness. Before the curse, before the hunger, before him. The air thickened. Him? Elias asked carefully. She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped into the ruins, guiding him through what remained of an old ballroom. Moonlight filtered through broken windows, casting fractured patterns on the dusty marble floor. I used to dance here, Lysandra said, twirling once, her hair catching the light like black silk. I was to be married, a nobleman, handsome, vain, cruel. Elias's jaw tensed. He wanted power, she continued, walking slowly toward him. And when I refused to become his puppet queen, he cursed me. He cursed this entire town. Elias reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. He turned you into this? She nodded. My kiss carries the plague. My touch awakens the dead. And no matter how far I run, it always follows. But it didn't kill me. Her eyes searched his, wary and wondering. No, it didn't. Then maybe I'm the key to breaking it. Lysandra's breath trembled. Or maybe your love is just another trap. And I'll watch you rot like the others. Elias gently cupped her cheek. Then let me choose to rot. Let me love you anyway. Her lips parted, eyes glistening with unshed tears. No one had ever spoken to her like this. Not with pity, not with fear, but with belief, a dangerous, precious kind of belief. Slowly, she leaned in, their foreheads touching. I want to kiss you, she whispered. I want you to. But if I do, then we'll face it together. The silence between them was electric. Her lips brushed his, feather-light trembling, and in that fleeting moment, the world held its breath. The curse did not strike. The dead did not rise. Instead, a warmth spread through Lysandra's chest, a pulse she hadn't felt in years. Her heart. Once. Then again. She gasped, staggering back. Elias, something's happening to me. And far beyond the ruins, deep in the heart of the forest, something else stirred. Not just undead. Something worse. Watching. Awakened. Ready. Lysandra stumbled back, clutching her chest, breath ragged. Elias caught her before she fell, his arms wrapping tightly around her trembling body. Her skin, once cold like moonlit stone, was now warm, alive. Faint color bloomed in her cheeks. What's happening to me? She gasped. I don't know, Elias whispered, staring into her wide, astonished eyes. But I think the curse is breaking. She shook her head. It's never happened before. No one's ever survived a kiss. Elias smiled, brushing his fingers gently down her jaw. Maybe no one ever kissed you out of love. Her lips trembled. Then from deep within the forest, a low moan echoed, a horrible, wet sound of something ancient waking up. It was followed by a rustle, like bones dragging through leaves. Lysandra's body stiffened. They know, she said, her voice hollow. The ones I've cursed, the ones buried beneath the roots. They felt the break in the magic. It's not just a kiss, it's a chain, a lock that kept something darker asleep. Elias helped her to her feet. What's coming? Not the dead, she said, backing toward the ballroom's shattered door. Something worse, something that controlled them, through me. Outside, the wind screamed through the trees. Lanterns across Blackridge flickered violently, then died all at once, plunging the town into darkness. Suddenly, Lysandra dropped to her knees, clutching her head. Her veins glowed faintly green beneath her skin. They're inside me, she whispered. I can hear them, all of them. The cursed, the forgotten, the queen that came before me. Elias knelt beside her, holding her shoulders. Fight it. You're not their puppet anymore. A tear slid down her cheek. I don't know who I am without them. You're the woman who wanted to feel again, who risked kissing a man just to remember what love tasted like. His words steadied her. Slowly, the glow faded, her breathing slowed, and for the first time, Lysandra looked at him with something more than hope. With trust. We have to end this, she said softly. The plague, the hunger, the thing in the forest, if it wakes, there won't be a town left to save. Elias nodded. Then we end it. Together. She laced her fingers through his. Promise me, if I lose control, if I become the queen again, you'll stop me. He didn't blink. I'll never let that happen. But far beyond them, a pair of ancient eyes opened beneath the soil, eyes that had waited for centuries to see Lysandra fall. The edge of the forest loomed like a scar on the earth, twisted trees rising like claws into a cloud-thick sky. The air was colder here, older. Every breath tasted of damp soil and secrets long buried. Elias held Lysandra's hand tightly. Her warmth was fading again. They're pulling at me, she whispered, eyes fluttering, trying to take me back. Then I'll pull harder, Elias said, voice steady, though his heart pounded like a war drum. We end this tonight. They crossed the threshold into the hollow forest, where sunlight had long since forgotten how to shine. Dead vines curled around gnarled roots. The ground pulsed faintly beneath their boots, like a heartbeat from something buried. Lysandra led the way, guided not by sight, but by something deeper, some internal thread tied to the source of her curse. The deeper they went, the louder the whispers became. Elias couldn't hear them, but he saw their effect. Her shivering, her pale lips, the faint green glow returning beneath her skin. You don't have to do this alone, Elias said, stopping her. She turned to him, eyes wild and glowing faintly. You don't understand. The thing we're going to face, it's not just magic. It's me. The part of me that never wanted to let go, that enjoyed the power. I've seen darkness, he said, gently pulling her close, but I've also seen your heart. And it's not rotten, Lysandra. Her breath caught. She leaned into him, resting her forehead against his. You're either going to save me or die trying. Maybe both, he smiled faintly. Suddenly, the trees parted. They stood before an ancient stone circle, half buried in moss and bone. At its center, a twisted tree rose from a black pit. Its bark oozed green sap. Faces, twisted screaming, were frozen in the trunk like souls trying to claw free. Lysandra gasped. This is it, the heart of the curse. A voice, cold and echoing, slithered from the pit. Come home, my queen. The ground cracked. A shadow rose, tall, crowned, draped in rotting robes. Its face shifted constantly, wearing the faces of all Lysandra's victims. It was beautiful, terrible, familiar. Do you remember me? The voice hissed. Her hands trembled. You were my betrothed. Elias stepped in front of her. Not anymore. The shadow laughed, deep and inhuman. Then die with her. Black roots burst from the earth, rushing toward them. Lysandra raised her hands, and for the first time in centuries, the curse fought back. The forest came alive with fury. Roots tore from the ground like whips, lashing through the air, slamming into trees with explosive force. Elias yanked Lysandra behind a stone pillar, just as one struck where they'd been standing, splintering rock like paper. Lysandra, the shadow hissed. You were made to serve, not feel. She stood, fire in her eyes. I was made to love, and your curse tried to bury that. The shadow twisted, its body pulsing with stolen souls. You were nothing before me. I was human before you. Green energy surged from her palms, blinding and pure. The ground shook beneath her. The twisted tree at the center of the stone circle groaned, bark splitting. The trapped faces inside its trunk screamed. Elias charged forward, swinging the broken blade he'd found among the ruins. Silver-tipped and ancient, just as the legend foretold. It sliced through a vine with a hiss, burning the cursed flesh. The shadow screamed. You think this mortal can save you? He doesn't need to save me, Lysandra said, rising into the air, her gown rippling like storm clouds. He reminded me who I am. The crown on the shadow's head shattered with a crack like thunder. It reeled back, its form flickering, unstable. Then Lysandra landed before it, eyes blazing, her voice deep and resonant. I am not your queen. She pressed her hands against its chest. Light exploded. The shadow howled, its body unraveling like smoke in a storm. The black vines recoiled. The tree cracked, then burst into flames of white fire. All around them, the forest shook. Dead things collapsed into dust. The ground hissed with steam as the magic holding it rotted away. Lysandra collapsed into Elias's arms, gasping, "It's gone. It's over." He held her close, brushing her hair from her face. "You did it. You destroyed it." "I didn't do it alone." For a long moment, neither of them moved. The wind blew gently now, cool, clean, no longer carrying the stench of death. The curse was gone. But as Elias held her, he felt a final pulse from her skin. Her eyes fluttered, her breath slowing. "No, no, no," he whispered, cradling her. "Lysandra, stay with me, please." "I used the last of it," she whispered. "The magic inside me. To kill him, I had to let it all go." "No," Elias said, his voice breaking. "You deserve to live." She touched his cheek, smiling softly. "I did, the moment you kissed me." Then her body went still. The light in her eyes faded, and Elias screamed into the night. Rain began to fall, gentle, like the sky mourning with him. Elias knelt in the center of the ruined stone circle, Lysandra's body cradled in his arms. Her face was peaceful now, untouched by pain or darkness. The green veins were gone. Her skin was soft, warm. She looked alive, but she wasn't breathing. "Please," he whispered, "come back. I need you." Around them, the forest had grown quiet. The cursed were gone. The plague had ended. But victory had stolen the one thing he fought for, Lysandra. Elias buried his face in her shoulder, his body trembling. "I didn't save you. I only gave you peace." Suddenly, a breeze swept through the clearing, warm and sweet, carrying the scent of lavender and ashes. He looked up. The twisted tree, burned down to embers, glowed faintly at its roots. Something shimmered there, a small silver vial. It pulsed with soft light. Elias rose, holding Lysandra close, and approached it. As he reached for the vial, a whisper filled the air, not from the forest, but from her. "One kiss, one chance." His eyes widened. He knelt, opened the vial, and found only a single glistening tear inside. Light danced within it, fragile as hope. He returned to her, heart thundering. Gently, reverently, he held her face and whispered, "Come back to me." Then he kissed her. For a moment, nothing happened. Then her body arched, gasping in a ragged breath as color flooded her cheeks. Her eyes shot open, wide with disbelief. "Elias," she choked. "I'm here," he said, tears streaming. "You're alive." She stared at him, stunned, then reached for his face, touching it like she was afraid he wasn't real. "I thought it was over." "It almost was," he said. "But something didn't want to let you go." She sat up slowly. The curse was gone. No green glow, no haunting whispers, just her, human, whole. Then they kissed again, longer, deeper, not a kiss of death, but of life. Later, as dawn spilled golden light across the forest, they stood hand in hand, watching the first sunrise Blackridge had seen in decades. Lysandra leaned her head against Elias's shoulder. "What now?" "We live," he said. "And the curse?" He looked at the ashes of the tree. "Let it stay buried, where it belongs." But far beneath the ground, in a part of the world even light forgot, a whisper stirred. Not of death, but of jealousy. Because sometimes, when a curse dies, it doesn't stay dead, and it always remembers who broke it. Rot never forgets. Peace had finally returned to Blackridge. The air no longer carried the scent of decay. The graveyard grass grew green again. Birds sang in the mornings, and children played where whispers once haunted the streets. The town, once cursed by silence and fear, now stirred with laughter, light, and love. In the heart of the restored manor house, Lysandra stood by the window, watching the sunrise spill gold across the forest canopy. Her reflection no longer showed hollow eyes or cursed veins. She was whole, human, alive. Behind her, Elias stirred in bed, reaching out instinctively, his hand brushing where she had once slept cold and distant. Now her warmth lingered beside him. Their love had rewritten the ending of her tale, one born in darkness, now healed by light. But Lysandra still dreamed, not of Elias's arms or morning kisses, but of something deeper. Each night the dreams returned, twisted trees, bleeding roses, a voice whispering from the soil beneath her feet. Sometimes she saw her old crown floating in black water. Sometimes the Shadow Prince's face, burning in green flame. She hadn't told Elias. He deserved peace. They deserved peace. And yet, deep inside, she knew. What they destroyed was powerful, ancient. And magic like that doesn't simply vanish. It waits. One morning, as the fog cleared and the forest glistened with dew, Elias brought her a flower he'd found growing near the edge of the woods. "It's beautiful," she said. It was. Silken, delicate. its petals black as midnight, edges tipped in red like dried blood. But it hadn't been there yesterday. She took it in her hand and smiled, though a chill crept down her spine. Far beneath the forest floor, in a place where no light had ever touched, a broken soul stirred. Still watching, still waiting, still in love. Because some curses don't die. They wait. And so the curse was broken. Or was it? Love saved the queen, but something darker still stirs beneath the soil, watching, waiting, and craving a final kiss. Is the rotting queen truly free, or has she awakened something far worse? Subscribe now to the Zombie Story Zone for chilling new episodes, deadly romances, and undead secrets that refuse to stay buried. Kiss carefully, because the next one might be your last. Don't forget to like, comment, and tell us. Would you kiss the rotting queen if it meant saving her soul? Stay undead, stay curious, stay with us at the Zombie Story Zone.
In the shadows of the night, where the moonlight glows, the zombies looking everywhere, that's how the story goes. Grab your gear, hold on tight, it's a wild ride ahead, in the zombie story zone, where the brave don't fear